What up, TikTok? Hey, hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hey, don't let anything that's negative in your life dictate the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Hey, we all go through some hard times. We all go through some emotional stressors, maybe at work, maybe at home, whatever it may be. Don't let that dictate who you are and how you react to the rest of the things that life throws at you. Does that make sense? Like if you're feeling pissed off and angry all morning or all day, you're going to take that energy and you're going to present it to everybody else that surrounds you, your loved ones, your soldiers, whoever it may be. You're going to use that negative energy and it's just going to make everything worse. Try to be positive. Pick something positive in life that's going really well. Use that positive energy and let that dictate the rest of your day. We can harp on the negatives. We can harp on the bad things that are going on in life. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us move forward. Stay strong, keep pushing, drive on. Happy Friday.
What's up, Trash Talkers? Hitting you up this morning with a special promo on how to dress when you're doing PT in civilians, but you want everybody to know you're an Army. This comes from the Buddy Beckwith fashion design of how to work out. So first, you can notice the RI panties. Not Ranger panties, but Ranger Instructor panties. The green socks, the knee brace for the old guys. Don't forget the M frames. Now the shirt, don't wear the Trash Talk shirt while you're running. This is just for the promo. You want to put on like an 80-second shirt or like your favorite airborne shirt so everybody knows that you're a veteran. That's the most important thing. And you start with this stretch. Buddy Beckwith taught me this one. Ready to go.
So, I'm walking out of the gas station and my co-worker, who's an old MP, but we still claim him, and has engaged the man in conversation. Not much for conversation with strangers, but he's got the tab. So, as I walk by, I say airborne, and the man responds with, and I quote, "Hoorah." So, after I instructed my co-worker to slash every single tire before he put the car in gear, I looked for the biggest rock. As I crow hop to throw it through his back window so he can stop posing as one of us, I actually wake up and realize that the man's ignorance had incapacitated me for a moment, and I was daydreaming. I mean, because in that moment you got two options. I chose the third option and said, "Incorrect. That's an incorrect response." And I kept walking. The man said nothing and he pulled away. So you tell me, what is it, a stolen valor thing? No Marine's gonna have an airborne tab, and no paratrooper's gonna say getting hoorah. So you tell me, stolen valor?
Hey, y'all, going to work. I left you a note on the refrigerator. I love y'all. I'm gonna go.
Hey, go get dressed. Get ready for school.
You're doing great. I was tooling around, tooling along. Shit! Bad guy! Stop!
Let me break it down Barney style.
Today's show is brought to you by the Farkas Group at the Veterans Mortgage Source. Are you looking for a team you can trust for your mortgage needs? The Farkas Group is our trusted partner on the podcast. I serve with Zach, and he will definitely give you the best rate possible. Their goal is to educate veterans across the country on their earned VA home loan benefit. If you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, reach out to these guys for competitive rates or any information you may need on obtaining a VA mortgage for your property. They are licensed in multiple states. If they are not licensed in the state that you live in, they will still give you the advice that you need and the rates you should be looking for.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, Joe, and Buddy. Today's special guest is Dr. Brooks, a former Ranger who couldn't pass Ranger school in one try, but Buddy and Nick did.
too.
He didn't. We're already live.
What is
He's already
going on,
fucked it up.
Gruntworks community? Happy Saturday, Trash Talkers. Welcome to episode 67 of the Trash Talk Hour. Shout out to our sponsor, Zach Farkas with the Veterans Mortgage Source. Check him out at Zach Farkas at bmsloans.com. Happy Place Hemp. You can find them at shopelevatedhempsolutions.com. Kyle Early with Barrage Coffee. Check him out at barragecoffee.com. And 10th Mountain Whiskey. Check them out at 10thwhiskey.com. Type in VTT, get yourself a special discount. Special guest today is Dr. Tony Brooks. All right. Amazing book right here. He is the author of Leave No Man Behind. And he's got 4 masks on. So, Doctor, thank you for keeping us all safe. And today I'm joined by Nick, Buddy, and Joe. Over to you, Buddy.
Yeah. So I read the script today, and I know that I'm supposed to say something funny and then pass it on. And I don't want to do the Joe thing where I like start off the show and I read a letter that makes everybody like cry and go, fuck, man. Like,
I was gonna be funny today, but fuck, man. Like,
yeah. So, but I do want to put out this honesty cap. So, this show is about veterans helping other veterans and people helping other people, whether it's having a veteran businessman or talking about veteran suicide or whatever. Recently, one of the medics from my team died in a car wreck. And I've spent a lot of time doing helping out with the family and doing a lot of stuff that is just part of the job. It's just what we do. But the one thing that has just come back time and time again and the thing that I'm most grateful for is that team and that group of people never left anything unsaid. We always told each other we loved each other when we finished the conversation. We kept in touch. We did all of the things so that at the tragic end of Carl's life, nobody feels bad about not telling Carl that he was special to us or not saying I love you or not doing the things that as alpha knuckle dragon dudes sometimes we don't want to say. And we would say things like I love you, all that stuff, but we'd also call each other names and do all the trash talk stuff. But that's just another way of telling somebody that they care. So my honesty cap for this show is reach out. Talk to the people that you haven't talked to and don't leave anything unsaid. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you care about them and that you're there for them and then fucking mean it. And then when it comes down to it, do the things that you say that you're going to do for each other so that, like make the commercial you're supposed to make, Joe. Jesus Christ. But that's my honesty cap for the show. So on to, I said I read the script. I read that I was first. I didn't read who was next.
At least that was kind of funny
job,
at the end,
buddy. That was solid.
No, but hey, rest in peace to your brother. Yep. All right, yeah, we all mourned him.
Good shit, buddy. That is over.
Hold on.
I'm drinking water, not drinking alcohol.
Come on, Doc.
If you put enough liquid on those masks, you can just continually drink it. It's like what do they call that?
Waterboarding.
It's water.
Waterboarding.
Yeah, I think you need a board also. So you just lay your chair back and do it. It's fine.
Okay.
He's keeping us all safe. He's doing what a doctor should do. I really appreciate that because if he wasn't wearing his mask, I'd be a little nervous to be on this show.
Well, I do think it's interesting that you said he's doing what a doctor does, and he already said that he wasn't a medical doctor. So he actually is doing what even medical doctors do, just regurgitate shit that other people say without actually
Chiropractor, doctor. We'll get into all of that.
It's fine.
Yeah. Joe, how's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm just waiting on the mic, but good shit, buddy. And definitely great point to not leave anything unsaid because you never know what day's gonna be the last time you see somebody, and that's just the way it is. But so I've got a twofold soapbox here. I had one written down, and then I got triggered about something today. And Nick always says if it got you triggered, I got triggered and I wrote. So hopefully this delivers. But
this should be good
because Doc was on the show, all right, and because of what he's done to honor the memory of his brothers, and he's putting skin in the game and put in hard work. I thought I'd address some of these haters, and this is the only time, in the words of Scarface, one time. I'm going to tell you one time. All right. They're not worthy of fucking even responding to, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. For all the haters out there that say, well, Marcus Luttrell's not giving us all the facts. We're not getting the whole story. How about a little bit of fucking grace for a guy whose back was broken, he was shot, knocked out, bit his tongue off, and flatlined on the bird after they picked him up? Maybe he doesn't have total recall. But I know one thing, most of you were 7,000 fucking miles away. So if I don't have all the details from what Mark, I'm still thankful that the man told the story, that he's still here. You know, for all you haters that don't know, because you probably never checked into it, he got fucked up worse than Ramadi when he went back. All right, this guy is legit, and anybody questioning him, just go question him personally, or pick up, or like Jack Nicholson said, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post so you can tell your own fucking stories. That goes for all the people that posthumously decided to take a cowardly shot at Chris Kyle. Why don't you go fucking talk to him when he was alive? You know, everybody, you know, for the haters that are like that, you know, usually you don't even address it because it's bullshit. But just for this one time, you know, I'm going to address how I feel. And yes, that does get me triggered. I can't leave emotion out of it because these are the guys I look up to when everyone's thanking us on Veterans Day. These are the guys that I was in awe of. So I had to respond back to that a little bit. But I shift into my next topic, and I'm going to use a line from Daniel Tosh where he says, sports needs steroids. Okay, I'm going to put my own spin on it, say it the same way. Kids need sports. For you schools that are not running sports or making it difficult for these children to play, you are hampering the kids' growth from being a productive adult. Sports builds character. It teaches kids self-accountability. When a kid takes an L and gets his heart broken and he's crushed because he gave all and he hadn't still lost, guess what they do? They play the next fucking game. They keep playing. All right. It teaches resiliency, one of the most important characteristics in life. It teaches a kid that persistence trumps everything if they come back and they keep playing. And furthermore, it prepares them for life. It prepares them to get knocked on their ass, get back up and dust themselves off because it's going to happen. So, you know, when a kid knows the team's counting on me, so I have to do a good job. What other sense can you teach a kid that's 9 years old accountability like that? Sports. Okay. And I'm not saying it has to be, you know, it has to be football or it has to be this or it has to be that. That's kind of my next point, which is for all you veterans who are fathers out there, and I know all of us are, when your kid grows into them, you know, their self and they pick something, you know, no matter what it is, if you see that they're passionate about it, they're striving to be really good at it, and it's a healthy thing for them to do because it's teaching them how to get better at something and put in the hard work, nurture that, embrace that. Okay. Because I know that I've got two sons. I know one of them's probably not going to play football. Football was my freaking life. But I don't care if he goes into the band. If it's something he wants to do, if you don't nurture that because it doesn't fit the mold of the kid you thought you were going to have, you'll lose them. They'll stop sharing their stuff with you. You know, it's a way to teach. It's a way to show your kids, hey, I love you for just being you. Because they have to be. You know, Dave, I'm gonna bring you into this because and just ask you, what does Tyler do as a hobby?
Oh yeah, he loves video games, you know, like he's obsessed with video games.
Did you say
now he's part of the esports team in his high school, and they give like scholarships out for college, you know. And it's like that wouldn't have been my path to go, you know, like I'm more of an outdoorsy guy, but I support him to the fullest, man. You know,
yeah, and right, it's something that he can use to better himself because 100%. There's scholarships out for it. So I also want to address my by brotherhood niece, Nick's daughter Natalie. I thought that this was one of the best. I mean, if I would have heard it online, I would have been like, that story's freaking awesome. So we kind of just haven't said anything about it, but she chose to go out and play football with boys. I know Nick was an athlete in college, played 2 sports. I guarantee you he wasn't pushing his daughter to go play football. She asked for it, and she's actually out there and playing. So I'm very proud of her, and that story is freaking awesome. And my final point being, when you see your kids becoming something that they want to be, and they're putting in the hard work to get better, nurture that. Let them know it's okay to be them, as long as it's healthy. It doesn't have to fit your mold for them to grow up and be productive adults and great people. So. That's it.
Damn, that was
over to you. Couple things real quick. It sounds like you're saying that to not try to live your life through your kids and just
Amen.
relive the
Exactly.
things. That's weird. That sounds like
we all
novel
see those
idea.
dads on the sideline.
The sad thing is, it happens way too often,
Stole my
man.
line.
It
Yeah,
happens.
and
Exactly what I was gonna say.
the other thing that I would like to point out is that Nick played baseball. That's not a sport.
And football in college,
Therefore-
brother. That's two
Football.
sports.
Yeah,
Two sports in
I
college.
got it. That's one sport. It's football.
I was
There's
so
two- there's two
doesn't
O's in-
count,
there's
dude.
two O's in
my name.
Yeah.
Fired up, buddy. Now
Any
let's talk
sport,
about their high
any
school
sport
days,
that you
know?
just
That's
you
past high
spend
school,
90% of the time waiting.
College
is
is
not a
after that.
sport. That's worse than golf.
He was my
Hey,
neighbor.
hey.
He was in Iraq, 15 feet away from me. You don't think I know he played football too? I promise you, we heard about it.
Yeah, golf is not
Yeah,
a sport.
I got
it's
it.
a hobby.
I got that he played football. Yeah, football is a sport. Baseball, not really a
Baseball is
sport.
100% a
It's
sport.
more waiting on a sport to happen. It's
Yeah.
catch.
In fact,
It's catch.
hitting a pitch baseball that is
They
designed to
should
get you
just
out is
name
the
it
hardest
catch.
thing to
They
do
should
in sports.
They should
So-
change the name of baseball for waiting on random catch.
Yeah, people
Baseball's an easy game. You throw the ball,
pretend like Yasiel
you
Puig
hit
and
the
ask
ball,
him to give me a
you
break.
catch the ball. All right. So, yeah, that was good. I'll brag about my daughter a little bit because when she came up to say, "Hey, Dad, I want to play football," and I was like, I had the PTSD from college of how hard I got hit. I was like, "Are you sure it's an extremely violent game?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, why do you want to play?" And she says, "Well, because no other girls are doing it." And I was like, "That's the right answer to me. Go get after
Proud
it."
moment for me.
That's a leader right there.
And then 4 girls signed up for the team 2 weeks later, and it was phenomenal. And then certain New Mexico schools are real poor, and we're right on the border. So when you play the New Mexico schools, they are combined 7th and 8th grade, and it's a brutal game when our 7th graders go in there and play their 8th graders because 8th graders kill them. But Natalie made the starting 8th grade center team. All right. And they picked her as a captain. And I was like, it was just weird watching all the 7th graders on the sideline and then Natalie's out there starting, and I was like,
Dave, do you know what position center is?
yeah, it's the guy who starts with the ball and kicks it to the other guy.
When it snaps,
Okay, yeah.
It's one of the most violent positions. on the
Midfield in soccer, right?
Hey, I'm not making fun of Dave. He's a Bundesliga fan. He's your.
I'm the Euro guy on the show. Yeah.
The center is known as one of the most violent positions on the field.
But that's a great point, Joe, that you made, especially with sports. And like I always tell people, you can go to your school boards and you can talk to them, right? And you can get on the record with these people that you elect. And that's one thing I did a couple months ago. I'm like, do not cancel sports. Whatever you do. I was like, and it's not for my kids because I'm privileged, right? I can get them in swimming or wherever. I was like, but there's lots of poor kids that need sports and they need the diets that the schools give them. And if you take all that away, they're just going to get fat, right? And then they're just going to get dumber. And now you just ruined an entire generation because you're worried about the community. All right, school boards, your job isn't the community. Your job is the children. There is a mayor that is in charge of the community. Okay, so that's just one of those things that we talk about, and raising not just women, and I mean men to be men, but women to be, productive adults as well. It's about being productive. All right, are you trying hard enough?
It's one of the things that Joe didn't mention, all great points, but one of the ones that he was probably going to mention and didn't was, sports also teaches that preparation means the difference between winning and losing. And that if you don't prepare and you don't do the things before the game happens, that you're not going to be successful. And those are lessons that are borne out throughout your lifetime. If you don't go to school and learn the things that you need to learn, you're not going to be able to work productively and efficiently and make money or be successful. So,
right, and so that's a good segue about preparation into our guest, Dr. Tony Brooks. Now, he is the author of "Leave No Man Behind," which I'm a little concerned that he didn't reach out to at least the Big Earl for a reflection on the book. He's got this guy Petraeus, McChrystal, Struker, never heard of these guys, but apparently they liked the book, so we decided to read it. I mean, they're no trash talkers, but now I noticed something in the book, and we make fun of every guest in the song, so I just have to ask a question to Buddy first before I introduce Tony. Did you recycle in Ranger School?
not once.
Yeah.
That was a straight through. You know what though? I found I have a couple buddies that did recycle.
Yeah, I don't know what that feels like.
My theory is, my theory is that they just sadomasochists and they really enjoyed the shit. I did not, so I just went ahead and passed everything first time go. So everybody that passed first time, just raise your. Oh well, Dave didn't go.
Dave didn't go.
All right. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. So either way, phenomenal book.
Doctor, I noticed you didn't raise your hand.
Yeah, you didn't raise your hand.
No.
Apparently, you're not a doctor in Ranger School.
But yeah, when he's at the bar, he went straight through though. No questions asked.
Yes.
That being said, it's an absolute privilege to have him on here and to promote his book. I've already read it and got some things marked I'll talk about after he does his thing. But welcome to the show, Dr. Tony Brooks. Tell us a little bit about your service, about what brought you into writing a book and sharing the story. Obviously, some of it's common sense why you did it, but get into that and just welcome to the Trash Talk Hour. And the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys, and thanks for letting me breathe and take off the 12 masks that I had on. But so when I got into service, it was right after 9/11 is when I really decided that was the time for me. I was at the University of Arizona in Tucson, and 9/11 happened my first few weeks in college. And me being kind of the softie at the time, it shook me up quite a bit. And I knew that college was absolutely not the place for me. I was basically partying and kind of going to class sometimes and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at that point. So 9/11 kind of woke me up and I was woke. How about that? I was woke and decided that I needed to go fight. So that's kind of my path into the military there.
So you were like Charlie Sheen in Platoon, where he's like, hey, why do all the poor kids have to fight war? College kids can too. So that you were the martyr. Yeah, what was it? Super lifer. That's what they called them. So in the movie Platoon, there's a part in the book. As I was reading it, we've had multiple authors on the show, and they've all just the way they express themselves. Was there any part of you wrote this book for your own mental well-being? Did it start that way, or how? What was the passion for writing it? Besides,
I would say absolutely that was part of it. But I think the biggest overlying reason why I wrote it was my two young kids. I looked at them and I thought to myself, am I ever going to be able to tell them this story, legitimately sit down and have that conversation about my service? And I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I don't know how many drinks I need. I don't think it's not a conversation that a lot of us will sit down and just be like, hey, so this one time on the mountain, I had to, recover 16 dead bodies. It's not a conversation you're going to have. Right. So I thought that writing it down and giving it to them would be a better way. And obviously for my own mental health reasons too, it's just get it off my chest and be done with it. But really it was for my kids, man. They deserve to know these stories. And, history doesn't just go away when we die, but it will if you don't share your story. So that's why I put it all on paper. And then it turned into a book and it turned into, getting published and all that, but it didn't start that way.
And a New York Times bestseller.
When did
may not be, but it will be.
From, all right, this may be something that I'm just writing in my spare time therapeutically to, holy shit, there's a book here. Did you kind of go through that, who wants to read it type thing where it was, you're not sure if you want to put it out because of the reaction, or how did that come about when you went from writing it down to saying this is going to be a book?
Yeah, when I started writing it, I was just writing kind of short stories. And then I started reading some of these short stories and I'm like, I should just put this all together and bound it into a book. And so what I ended up doing was I got on LinkedIn of all places, and I found an author that I respected that wrote about the military. And I reached out to him on LinkedIn and I said, hey, I got this thing I'm working on, and I was, on this mission called Operation Redwings, and I really want to write the story of the rescue operation. And of course, this guy knew about Operation Redwings. And he goes, "What? You're on the rescue?" He goes, "No one's written about that. Are you writing a book?" And I said, "Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how to do it." And he kind of started the process with me and linked me up with, an agent and all these other things. So it kind of just snowballed from there. But I always thought I could put it into a book, but I didn't expect it to be like a published, on Amazon and all that. I wanted it just on my shelf at home. So, reach out to the right people, have the right conversations, and this is what happened.
Yeah, LinkedIn is phenomenal. They should sponsor us for this plug, but they are phenomenal. If you're not on LinkedIn, which I know a lot of the Trash Talk team isn't, all you have to do is just mention something, and then as soon as you get a few connections with people who can link you up, it's amazing. I meet most of our guests from LinkedIn, so it's just phenomenal. Like I made a comment on Black Rifle Coffee's post. I was like, that dude looks like a Cab Scout, right? And then Gruntworks Coffee tags a Cab Scout, and not Gruntworks Coffee, Black Rifle is like, he's a Cab Scout. And so then we started bullshitting with each other, and he's going to come on the show next week. He's got a nice nonprofit that he's running. So it's just something that, it brings us all together again to talk about some things and how we can help and build veterans up. I did want to talk about something in your book, because I was going to talk about it in my book of Earl, but it doesn't matter. People, when you read this, and we're always trying to tell people on Veteran Trash Talk that we want civilians. We want civilians in the community, because veterans who are killing themselves are in a community. They're in a community surrounded by non-veterans. And it's like, so maybe if you could just maybe understand a little bit of lingo, understand just how to, if somebody says hi to you this way, or somebody says that the boys are hanging out, whatever, right? Maybe you have just a little bit of understanding. But there's something in your book about when it was, time to go down the rope for your first mission, right? Mm-hmm. So people civilians won't understand this, and a lot of even non-combat arms people won't understand it. This is their first mission. All right, you're pumped up. It gets, the first one gets scratched. All right, adrenaline shuts back down, raises back up, and here you go. It's go time again. And you were talking about how you were looking towards one of your leaders, and he shook his head that he couldn't see. Right, he couldn't see the bottom of the rope. And it's like you said that was a weird. You've never seen him do that, right? Is that I believe in
correct.
And then this is the best. And he goes, well, then he just went down.
And then while you hit on that, your first mission was also to go recover bodies. That
they don't know that yet.
Is
they're hoping that they're still alive, and all that kind of stuff.
That's rough. So go ahead, Tony.
No,
yeah,
but go ahead.
So obviously the rope part, yeah, I think that says a lot about that guy, right? He knew that he couldn't see, and he went. Because the mission was so far superior to anything in his world that he was going no matter what. And, guys like me, the new guy, I look at that guy and I'm like, well, if he's going, I'm going. But would I have been the one to go down the rope first? I don't know, man. I was a cherry. I was the guy that, I didn't know what to expect. Maybe I might have been, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's I said. I was telling my buddy Keith Bach. I hope he's watching. Old Command Sergeant Major Bach. That I had PTSD in a good way reading this part of the book, to where it was like I felt the first time that I ever got shot at. We got ambushed, and Dave was gone. He was on leave, and then Joe was crying like a baby, pinned down behind a car or something like that. The only squad that was able to save him was ours. But I froze like a motherfucker. I just that was really loud. This is really loud. What's going on? And
I couldn't get out from behind the rock I was hiding from because Nick wouldn't fire back.
Right.
And I'm like, shoot.
Yeah.
I'm just staying there. Right.
It was like a split second where I heard the lieutenant's command, and then I heard my squad leader saying, Cottrell, let's go. We're going right. And like right there, just watching how fast they acted, because it wasn't the first time they were shot at, and it was like, let's go. All right. We're in the game now. So, like I said, I had that feeling, like you just had that guy it's amazing that he shakes his head. I can't see the bottom, but hey, we got to fucking go. Right?
I think it's interesting that you mentioned that the mission was more important, right? But that's not really that's never the case, though, right? It's not the mission that's important; it's the men that are important. And if the mission is men, it's not the mission that. If it was just going to retrieve some bullshit, or then you have the chance to go, fuck it, it's not that important. But if it's people. And if he doesn't go down that rope, you went down that rope not because the mission was important, but because he went down that rope. You know what I mean?
You're right.
We don't. I think a lot of people think that we do things for God, apple pie, and glory, and all this other bullshit. We only do things because we don't want to disappoint our buddies. Like we don't want to disappoint the other people.
Left and right, yeah. But then in this mission specifically, they're going to help other buddies, so it has like facets of both, yeah,
exactly.
What Doc's saying, it resonates in almost any forward unit, because that's exactly the way it was. Dave was my first team leader, and if he went around a corner, I wasn't losing right hand's distance to grab him. I was going. I was just trying not to trip him up. I was so close behind his back. Like, you're going. If your team leader goes, you're going, because you're definitely not letting them go alone. And once somebody sets that example, like we're going here, it's like, yep, all right, let's do it.
I mean, if can any of you guys remember the commander's intent for any mission that you went on? I can't. I can only remember.
I can remember our PL saying,
if he's going, I'm going. Fuck.
Yeah, you're right, buddy. You're right.
That's why in the old Ranger school they tell you to say it twice. Just to make her remember.
Even twice. You might want to hit that third time, because I don't fucking know. I'm only going because old boy's going.
Yeah, but Tony, you were going to say something, but again, this is how great. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't read the book, this is how much it sparks you. Like, especially if you're a combat veteran, like it literally, you get some of those feelings back of like, like that's what it means. Like and if you're a civilian reader, that was my point, is like you watch the movie Black Hawk Down. All right. And that part where Colonel McKnight, they said, you don't got to go back out there, and he makes that face, and it's an actor obviously doing it, this kind of stuff. But like, no, like he's going back out there. Like, I don't know what, like, that was fucking dumb, and then I'll do another movie quote, because Joe loves him, is like Tombstone. When he's like, you don't got to go out there, Doc Hollywood. He's like, well, that's a hell of it. It's like, this ain't your fight. And he goes, that's a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
Not your fight, Doc. You don't need to get mixed up in this.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, you were going to touch on it when I was saying that, is like that and then your landing wasn't so good either, because maybe you should have seen the bottom. But go over that a little bit.
How did that go? Yeah.
Because we couldn't see, we're going down this rope, right? And it's foggy and it's pitch black. Your nods are up. So you got your nods flipped up. You're sliding down the rope. You have no idea how long this rope is, first of all. Second, it's so dark and so foggy, you can't see anything other than the rope in front of your face. You're trying to look over your shoulder, look down. You don't see shit. There's nothing you can see. And next thing you know, I was like counting like seconds as I'm going down to try to time it, because it's usually about 40 feet ish. And 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and I'm still sliding and I'm speeding up, and I just keep counting. And I don't remember where I stopped counting, but all I know is I slapped the ground.
Yeah, Afghanistan said hi.
Yeah, I didn't, my feet never even hit the ground, because I was completely parallel trying to slow down. And I landed directly on my back, and I was in between two downed trees, because it wasn't just flat land, because why would they do that? They put us down on some logged trees, and so there's guys everywhere. I mean, I flipped down my nods and I can see just bodies running around everywhere. It's complete madness, right? And I can't even get off my back. I'm like a turtle. I was stuck on my back. But lo and behold, one of the much stronger ragers than I just reached down and basically yanked me up off the ground. And that was the beginning. But yeah, I had no clue what was going on. I was private. So
Can I admit something real quick?
No.
Just because we're talking about fast roping, I am the fastest fast roper. I don't know how to stop. I just grab the rope and slide down.
Drop.
I can't. When you said you were counting, I couldn't fathom having the presence of mind to count shit. I just fuck it. Here we go. We're just. It's so fast. I like to. I have a hybrid of styles for fast roping. It's jumping out of an airplane and just holding on a rope because I land exactly the same speed. As I just jumped out of the helicopter.
Yeah, this one would have hurt. One would have hurt.
Yeah, hybrid PLS. Yeah.
Basically, I'm just gonna keep my feet and knees as together as I can, and then try to run away so that somebody doesn't land on.
Yeah, and you touched on another thing there as well in the book about how, you know, as you're responding to contact, as like the way we did conventional, like with a QRF, right? You're just hoping that everybody's still okay, and you're gonna go there and you're gonna, you know, fuck shit up because now we have the initiative and we have maneuver forces, you know, and like we're going to be able to do some damage here.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Yeah. But yeah, if you don't mind, if you would, because I know you wrote about it, but that feeling you got when, you know, you realized that it wasn't good. Like, was there any change in your leadership's tone or anything like that to where it's like, well, fuck, you know, like something like that along the lines of that?
Yeah. So, you know, we walked into the crash site, which was hellacious because we didn't have maps. You know, we were using satellite imagery to try to navigate the mountains of Afghanistan, which is an absolutely horrible idea, by the way. But
there's some AAR comments about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. So it took us, you know, I think it was 3 miles from the crash site, and it took us like 7 hours or something like that. But you know, we get to the crash site. PJs, the pararescuemen from the Air Force, push on to the crash site and kind of do an assessment. And when they come back, it's like you could see it on their face. It's like no one's alive. And I'll never forget, like, I swear to you, it felt like someone had just laid me on the ground, or let's be honest, hit me with a sledgehammer to knock me onto the ground, and then stomped right on my gut. Sucked the wind right out of me. It's not what you expect. You know, you're the United States of America, right? We're the most powerful military on the planet, and you were just told that we just got destroyed, basically. We got
our best units too.
16, right? 16.
Just 16 men where we figured all of them were dead at that point. We couldn't find anyone alive on the crash site.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it was, I mean, me being the new guy, it was devastating to me. And I thought, well, this is how war is, huh? All right. Well, this fucking sucks.
Should have stayed in college.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely having thoughts of, I got to do this for 4 years. Holy shit. What did I get myself into? But at that point, you know, you get that initial like shell shock moment. And then it's like, all right, well, now we're doing this for their families. You know, they're gone. So we got to get these guys home to them. So, you know, that sense of humanity kicks right back in, and you're right back at it. Like you have that moment, and then boom, you got to turn back on.
Now you hit on it perfectly, Tony. But you know, we always talk about PTSD and stuff like that on this show, and some of the issues that we might go through. Do you feel like after your transition out of the military that feeling came back, or maybe it increased? You know, if you don't want to hit on any of that, that's fine. But because I know my experiences, like the first time I shot somebody, the pink mist, right, Joe?
That was Ogren.
You know, I was Ogren. I had a couple nightmares, and it was just continue on with the mission. Like I knew I took this man's life. But then as we got back, especially once I got on the recruiting and stuff, like I still have nightmares about that stuff. I can't fix it. Like, do you like during the mission though, when I was still serving, like I forgot about it, you know, it was drive on, do what we got to do. But then as a transition starts and you get away from that, then suddenly those things start coming back. You know, how did you deal with that, or did you have any of those issues?
Yeah, so I write about this specific topic, saying that, you know, real men cry, real men have emotions, but soldiers don't, because you can't. You got to work, right?
There's no time to mourn, right?
Yeah,
spot on.
We you know, in the moment, yeah, it did feel like a gut punch, but you had like 30 seconds to process that and then move on. You know, we could be ambushed at any moment. Like, this could be a setup. So I didn't get a lot of time to process that until, again, getting out of service. So it wasn't even, you know, my next deployment was the Battle of Ramadi. And, you know, we got into some heavy stuff there, but I never had any issues until all was said and done and I got out of the military, and I'm like reflecting on all the stuff that had happened, and that's when it hit. Like, I was fine on deployments. So, you know, if a veteran's watching this, you know,
there's lots watching.
You may think this is not going to happen to me because, you know, I'm fine. You got to be ahead of the game. Start talking about it now. Get into counseling now before it's a problem. It may never be a problem, and I hope it never is.
Yeah, get the demons out.
Yeah, like we always say, this is our therapy every Saturday.
Can I caveat off what Doc said?
It behooves us to listen.
Fantastic.
Carry on.
That when you see something like that, okay, and there's no way. I see a lot of people who like to trauma evaluate. I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay, because trauma is like a fingerprint. You know, it affects everybody differently. There's no two experiences that are exactly the same. So some people say, well, you probably went through more than I did. And I'm like, how would, you know, I don't level it. Trauma is trauma. And when you go through trauma, I firmly believe that it leaves a scar on your brain. Okay. It never goes away. Sometimes it flares up. Sometimes it's always there, but it's a permanent mark because the mind is not tailored to see things like that. It's such a shock that you almost have total recall of it when you wish you did. Does that describe it? Similar to what you go through, Doc?
I would say yes, but I've turned it on its head at this point. You know,
you turned it into gasoline, right?
I use it as a foundation to, you know, when I think things are bad, when you know, all the things are in life are kind of coming down and things are happening. I always put it in perspective and be like, well, I'm not in Afghanistan. I'm not on a war zone, and I'm not having to bring my dead buddies home. And so I use it as a way to live a better life and to move forward. I feel like almost I owe it to those guys, you know, they don't get that chance.
100%. Live their legacy, right? Keep their legacy alive.
Basically. To say that last week, Dave, though, that's how we keep them alive. That's how we make sure
that legacy.
How important their legacy is always valued because we keep it alive in the stories we tell. And without going on the corny side of what you said, Doc, where you say you use it as a foundation, I act like they're watching.
Yeah,
like your brothers are watching, and you're being a bitch. You know,
and Buddy hits on this perfect. I took some of this
for them.
I took some of this from Buddy, and Buddy has hit on this Memorial Day weekend, things of that nature. Like, you know, I always used to have a thing, Memorial. Oh, now I got to be, you know, all affected and down in the dumps, and I got to drink a lot and be sad. But Buddy brought this up multiple times. Like, no, what would they be doing now? They'd be celebrating, they'd be barbecuing, they'd be drinking, they'd be having fun, like celebrate their lives, you know.
Where's the beer and one of the burgers?
And since, you know, I've transitioned completely to that now. So it's like,
isn't it interesting though, like that you're right, only because you're quoting me, but isn't it
that's the only reason, Buddy, but you know, it worked.
Isn't it interesting though when you use that mindset that you were just talking about, Doc, about like you look at things and you're like, well, at least I'm not here and people aren't shooting at me and it could be worse and all of this stuff. And we have this crazy ability, and I don't know if it's all veterans, but I know a lot of the ones that I hang out with, they have this crazy ability to look at the bright side of absolutely any situation and go, the litmus test for this is the worst thing that I've ever gone through. For you, Redwings too, for other people, different combat experiences or different experiences. Possibly for you, it was not making it through Ranger School the first time. I don't know, but isn't it interesting?
Talk about a gut punch.
When you talk to civilians about it, or they're like, I don't understand how you're positive right now with all of the bad things that are going on, and you're like, well, my point of reference is completely different than yours. My point of reference is life and death. My point of reference is these 16 guys are never coming home. My point of reference is a lot worse than it could be, so much worse. You've been blessed to not have to go through all that stuff. So you look at the negative. I've been blessed to go through some of the shittiest human experiences that are like around. So I get to look at the positive. I would pick mine over yours.
I love saying to civilians, if that really upsets you.
Well said, buddy. I'll make sure I quote that.
The charmed life you lived. If that's really upsetting to you, then I wish I'm jealous of how charmed your life's been. I say that all the time because it's just like, that's not a big deal. Like, what do you got? Like,
and it's funny you bring that up, talking about the brighter side. You actually talked about, I think it was Todd, his name, one of the privates in your platoon or whatever.
Yeah.
And he talks about just being upbeat. You know, it could be Christmas Day and somebody could, you could walk in there, it could be shit on the ground because somebody shit on the floor or a horse shit there or something. He's like, well, where's the pony? Like, just being that upbeat guy, always looking at the bright side of things, So, yeah.
Hey, you need that balance. And that's what we talk about our community with Veteran Trash Talk. As people think that we're the ones like saving lives with like PTSD and suicide. It's like, we're not. It's like, we just decided to like make a safe space, as some people don't like, because we don't allow politics or sexual posts or anything like that. And it's like, yeah, it's a safe space for when I come on there and post something. Hopefully the community's big enough to where there is a person that has the answer, right? And like, maybe there's somebody that chewed the same dirt as me that's going to be like, yeah, I was there too, and it's like, oh, okay. Or I was there the year before you. Like, oh, I remember that, and it's just like, you build that and you get those demons out. But to highlight what everybody just said and then turn the attention back on you, because you talk so much. It's, I love this part because, again, you find Marcus, right? You pull him out. All right. He's hurt. He's distraught. He's almost panicking to the point. He's like, how many people do you have? Like, I hope you have a lot of people, because there's a lot of Taliban here, like please don't say like, it's just like you 5, something like that. But then he makes the joke and like, in all this going on. And again, this is what civilians and a lot of people who want to play the PTSD card, not necessarily the right way, is he goes, I'm never going to hear the end of being rescued by you guys. And it's like all that stuff going on, he really in his mind, he's like, fucking Rangers, really? And he's like, now I'm going to have to hear how the Rangers saved the Navy SEAL, and it's like that. I mean, and this guy just lost his whole team, and he still thinks that way. He still says that. Can you touch on that a little bit?
They almost lost him on the bird afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think all of us, anyone who's been in in a war zone, whether you've been in like direct combat or not, you have a really awesome way of turning shitty situations into something hilarious. And it's a good way to deflect. I mean, because honestly, would we have faulted Marcus if he just started crying at that moment? No, not at all. That guy had been through hell. So the fact that he was able to make that joke was his way of, trying to move past the craziness he just experienced. But I love that joke because so the guy who found Marcus, it was Lieutenant English, and English has since passed away of prostate cancer. The guy, he's of legends. If you ever want to look up a resume, he's one to look up. He started as an enlisted man, made it to CAG, spent a decade there, and then became an officer and went to the 75th Ranger Regiment, and then went back to group after that. The guy's just a phenomenal person. And at the time he was a lieutenant. And he told me that story. He was not doing so well with prostate cancer. And he said, when I die, I'm going to laugh about that. I'm going to laugh about Marcus being able to laugh about his hell. And so it kind of goes full circle. Those little jokes mean a lot. Like Marcus doesn't even realize the effect that little comment had on everybody.
Damn.
And now everyone gets to read it.
That's
Right. Like I said, it had an effect on me just reading
Yeah.
it. I was like, I remember that. I remember those feelings of like when somebody cracks a joke in the middle of shit. It's like, yeah. And I'm gonna bring it back to you here in a second. But the quick book of roll kind of leads into this is to where, the Army has master resiliency training. And, I never understood with a lot of Army programs, why do we have these programs? Like, I don't see that problem. I have a lot of positive people around me. Like I have people who make light out of a real shitty situation. When you talk about hunting the good stuff, right? And it's like, who needs this, right? And then when you go to other units, that aren't as high speed as the division, the unit, or the regiment, and it's like, oh, these guys need it, and it's like, it makes sense. And I'm not making fun of them. I'm not making fun of anybody who watches it. But again, the Book of Earl would tell you that if you're not surrounding yourself with people who find the bright side, if you're not surrounding yourself with people who will let you cry for a little bit because they love you, but there's a point in time where they're going to be like, all right, time to get back up. All right, it's time to get moving again. It's time to turn this into a positive. All right. Well, how the hell do we do that? Well, let's find a way. And Marcus Luttrell found a way to turn it into a positive. You writing the book, and then like you said, you flipped it up on its head. And we all preach that. We preach that as much as we can, where it's like, man, why do we have to be diagnosed with PTSD? Like, does that say who you are, or is that just something that says, okay, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it now, that when I get stressed out, my brain will go to a different level than yours. And like, because it has that memory. But now I can, like you said, flip it on its head, and I can use it. Or I can use all of that stuff, that extra energy. If I'm awake, I might as well get up and do something, right? Like, well, shit, and then figure it out, maybe relax a little bit, whatever. But let's go into so again, bringing it back to you, and just like I said, the Book of Earl is like, surround yourself with people that build you up. Surround yourself with the people that tell you you're doing something wrong. All right. There might be the truthful asshole that you don't like, but they're the ones telling you you're fucked up. All right. And they're the ones that are like, yeah, like, again, just stop trying to turn everything into a negative, and stop surrounding yourself with people that want to pity with you. Right. Because they're happy. They're happy there too. They're happy at the bottom. Right. And so if you're questioning why life sucks, it might suck at the time, but get over it. Get over it and work harder. That being said, going into Ranger School, because we got to touch on it a little bit. So, because I know you guys don't like the RIs like me. We're not the real Rangers. But
you were an RI.
Yeah, I was in Florida. So,
fuck.
Yeah, and
hold on.
Yeah, so I'm
gonna sit up straighter.
Got your waders on?
Yeah, so I'm grading old Tony Brooks here in Ranger School, and I got no fucking idea that he was in operation. He's climbing all over these mountains in Afghanistan, and then he decides to come to Ranger School, and you get no go. Right. So tell me, did any of your because I know how some of the bat boys talk in Ranger School towards the RIs, and we have fun with it, and it's like, were you like, who the fuck are you to no go me? Like,
it wasn't just the bat boys, Nick. Yeah. It wasn't just the bat boys.
Oh, the group guys are the worst. The group guys are the worst.
Oh, I wasn't even in group at the time, but I had been around, and I was like, this fucking guy's an idiot.
Yes, there's some dumb RIs out there, but it's like, tell me how that felt, if you don't mind, about when that gut punch of getting recycled. And what phase was it in?
It was Darby.
Squad level too. Oh, gross.
Yeah, no, this was bad because right before I started the patrol, the RI looked at me and goes, "Oh, you're a bat boy. All right, let's see how you do." And instantly I'm like, oh, fuck. God damn it. I got this guy. And what happens on my squad level patrol? I had someone fall asleep. And I had someone AD on my patrol. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. It's like, I knew I was recycled at that point. It was like 100% I'm recycled. But really, at the end of the day, I just thought, Ranger School's way too easy. So I need 4 phases. And that was my way of doing it.
I like the way you turn that negative into a positive.
That's my point.
Appreciate the way
That was good.
you short up the foundation of the Big Earl's Book of Earl. I will also like to share with you that I had a guy. I wasn't luckily during Derby being graded, but a guy had an AD, and I turned and started firing because. Well, that's what you do when you think somebody's shooting at you, and this douche ass RI comes up like, I know what you were doing, try to cover for that guy. I was like, first of all, he's a foreign student. I don't give a fuck. Secondly, where are you from that if somebody shoots at you, you don't turn, start suppressing and moving towards that area?
Well, it's the Cav Scout RIs that really screw you, and it's like, because now you're walking and you're like the primary instructor and you hear this RI talking and you're like, shit, and like, so you bring the RI, like, hey, go stand over there. And you go talk to that squad he was talking about. Everything that guy just said, don't fucking do that. All right. Like, we don't let him walk very often. He has to get out and stay certified. So like just, you guys are doing fine. Just ignore him. But yeah, you turn it into that positive. And I only bring that up because when I was in mountains, I only had 1 patrol and I was starting to shit my pants when they weren't calling my number again because I thought the patrol went shitty. And but I was like, I already let the demons in my head that said, if I recycle mountains, I don't think I'm gonna do it. That demon crept into my head that was like, I'm not gonna fucking do this again. Every time we woke up in the morning, we just walked straight up, and I was like, this is not fun. It's like, I don't want to do this again. But then you have your battle buddies to your left and your right, and they're like, man, it ain't that bad. I'm like, you'll be all right. Whatever. I ended up not recycling. I didn't call my roster number on the last day. I was like, thank God. So it must mean I'm a go. But
let's be clear. I went straight through the second time.
Technically, kind of the same thing.
Technically, you just had like the eyebolic version of it. You just.
We had a guy in my graduating class that, in my first Florida phase, the only one that I went through, he went through more than one, but the dude had been in fucking Ranger school. He was also from BAT and had been in Ranger school for like 8 fucking months at the time. He failed his patrols in Florida phase, and they brought us all in to board us and be like, why do you think this guy should stay? And I was like, he's been here for 8 fucking months.
He's the most trained soldier in the army.
Yeah, I was like, I've been here for a month and a half, and this place fucking sucks, dude. The fact that he's still here, just let him keep fucking himself. Whatever. Like, you should just give him his shit at this point.
What's funny is about Bat Boys being in Ranger School, most of them will never quit because
you ain't going
we
back
know
there,
if you don't, you go back to your unit, you're done. You're getting sent somewhere else.
You end up in the 82nd, right?
End up in the 82nd with us, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Great points there as well. And again, I always tell people this when I had to do like PRC graduation speeches or whatever, where I was like, you're going to learn about yourself there. That's the most important thing. And you're going to learn that you're going to be a shitbag sometimes. Like, there are times where you are going to 100% feel sorry for yourself. And you now potentially can cost the patrol of somebody else because you want to feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, but that being said, were you a sleepy ranger or a hungry ranger?
Oh, I was a hungry ranger. I was eating when I wasn't supposed to.
I was eating in my sleep, guys.
Yeah. I would skip meals to sleep.
I just, like I said, but that was the one time that I remember being I was almost a complete douchebag. Like, I pulled out an MRE when priorities of work weren't done yet, and I'm like, you know what, this fucking guy's stupid. I've already dug my hole. Like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. Leadership sucks. I'm just gonna eat my fucking MRE. And there was a Marine that came up to me. He was a gunny sergeant going through the class, and he was like, "Hey man, let's not fuck this guy, okay?" That's all he said to me, and I was like, "Wow, I almost completely fucked this guy," and because you're all fucked up in the head. It's like I put the MRE back in the ruck, and it's like, all right, let's go back to work, But it's like there's that point in time where you're tested, And people like, Dave and Joe are like, oh, I don't need to go to Ranger school. It's like, no, you don't. Right? You don't have to. But when I see a guy with a tab, I know he's been pushed. I know he's been pushed to some limits. The
difference is that a guy without a tab has to prove he's not a piece of shit. The guy with a tab has to prove that he is.
Right. And then you have
facts.
And then when I tell the guys when they graduate, I was like, hey, look, now you think that you're super cool because you got a tab. It's like, but you're going to be under a microscope, especially if you're going to a conventional unit. All right. You do not embarrass us. Like the minute you screw up, it's multiplied by 1,000 because now you just cost about 6 guys who were privates not going to Ranger school because they saw some staff sergeant act like a dickhead. Right.
I used to think that was,
and you go to combat and it's a whole different story.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to think that was some cliche bullshit, like army talk that, the hardest day of Ranger school was every single day after you graduate Ranger school. And it has borne itself out to be the fucking, the real thing, like because people for whatever reason they still look to you because you've got that little bitty piece of cloth and go, fuck dude, what do we do? And you're like,
oh, we came from the 82nd. That's like you're
follow
that
dispensable patrolling and just stay alive.
Yep.
But so I'm glad we got here's a comment. I only did Ranger school so I could get the license plate on my car.
Can we get sponsored?
That's why I got shot in the ear. I wanted the free license plate.
But
I did it for the blueberry pancakes.
Tony, where can we get this? For all our viewers and listeners later on. I don't think Amazon, I'm guessing, anywhere else.
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Books A Million. You name it, any major book retailer will have it. Obviously, if your local bookstore has it, go buy it there because those are just small-time business owners and they deserve it.
Do you do a social media following, anything like that, where somebody like follows you as the author or any other?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I'll be perfectly honest and say I suck at it. So
takes a while.
Yeah,
Joe,
you guys bear with me.
Want to start our own club about it?
Yeah.
Nick,
well, we really appreciate you, man. We do.
Did you hit one? Nice.
We got two of our first calls were correct. So
nice, awesome.
It's been two fights, and we've called them both.
Yeah, we're making some money today, baby. Anyways,
nice.
So like I said, if you didn't watch our show and you didn't bet with us last night, then you're not making the money that we're making today. Man,
thanks for coming out.
You guys have to read this, and I'm going to talk about some other authors before we give Tony the last word, and then Dave can close us out. We had Joe Fair on, the Vietnam veteran who wrote, I already just blanked on the name, but Dracula, Call Sign Dracula.
Call Sign Dracula.
He sold out of books right after our show, and again, he did the same thing. Like he wrote his stories for his kids, again, like you talked about, like Vietnam chasing ghosts, at nighttime. And it's, he talks about that as well. And there's the other author we had, Win Anderson with Wombat, which he talks, and it's a very comical book about military jargon.
Awesome. Great book, man.
And just the way we talk to each other, he personified it just beautifully. But again, please, guys, go read this book. I've read it already. I'm going to read it again, probably, just because, like I said, there's things where it's going to make you feel all the emotions. And if you're a civilian reading it, then you're going to understand why warfighters do tend to find the positive in things. And then you're also going to understand why, we don't accept no as an answer. We don't accept defeat as an answer. All right. We might get knocked down once or twice, 10 times, but because of who he talks about in this book and leaving no one behind, right? You don't quit. All right. You never quit. You never quit until everybody's on the bird. And I'll turn it over to you. But like you said in here, when you got to break a dead person's arm, to get him into a body bag, so that they can come home. Yeah, a lot of people that make sick in the stomach, but you got to get them home, and you got to do what you got to do to get them there. So, Tony, last words before Dave closes us out.
Yeah, I think I just want to add on to the book a couple things that people look at that and they're like, oh, it's just another war book, right? But really, I think this book is not. It's a human story in the context of war. It's really not that much of a war story. It's just the context. That's where we were, and I want people to recognize that, because we've all read the war books, and a lot of them are the same, right? There's a hero, and everyone thinks he's the coolest dude ever. I am not the coolest dude ever. I'm an average guy that just happened to be on this mission. So that's what I want people to understand when they pick up this book. This isn't a hero story. This is a story about a bunch of men looking out for other men. Absolutely. And Americans looking out for other Americans. So I hope you all enjoy it, and please reach out to me if you do. If you don't like it, I don't want to hear. But
I don't like negative shit in my life.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I did get one great review the other day, and it was great. The guy he found me on the internet, and he took the time to tell me that it was the most boring book he's ever read. That's what he told me. The most boring book he's ever read. He's like, thank you for, he's like, don't take this personal, but thank you for helping me sleep better at night, because it was so horrible. And I've had hundreds of great reviews from other people, but this one was just, I got
get you triggered. Did it get you triggered?
No, I was laughing. I was actually laughing. So I'm like, who takes the time to write that?
The guy that spends most of his time.
It's super bitter.
This boring dumbass book you wrote has. This boring dumbass book you wrote is nothing like Call of Duty.
Right? Yeah, these guys are all dressed like Call of Duty guys. They're
why didn't you just hit the X button and get like a medical drop of all this other bullshit?
That's like those haters we talk about. Or like
the guy who talked to a recruiter once, you know, never even made it to basic training.
They hate the whole thing. It's like, well, if you hated the book and you read it cover to cover, aren't you contradicting yourself? Like, you ate the whole steak and then you told me you didn't like it. Like, come on, buddy.
Hey, man.
Maybe a little haterade, complain about it.
Yeah, I was gonna join the army, but if I'd have gone to basic training, those drill sergeants would have yelled at me. I don't know what I would have done. You just shut the fuck up and got yelled at. That's what you would have done.
What happened was I made it to 30th.
Don't deal well with
all right, I'm a veteran. Tony, phenomenal stuff. And again, for everybody that's watching, you need to read this book.
I think it's super funny, by the way, that as soon as Tony, who we all just literally met today, said that somebody said something negative about a book, we're all talking over each other like, fuck that dude, fuck that fuck you, you fucking nerd.
Probably take care of each other, right?
Probably can spell shit.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Yeah.
But anyhow,
about Tony again.
Yeah.
Again, Tony, thanks for coming on. And for everybody that's watching, definitely go get this book. Phenomenal story. I'm not done yet. I'm about halfway through.
It'll help you sleep.
Yeah, it does help me sleep, actually. You should read before you go to bed. It's good. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. We're going to stay connected for sure. Whenever you need us, we'll boost your stuff, throw it out on the page and stuff, and hopefully the sales go up, because this is a must-have for any veteran. To everybody that's watching, veterantrashtalk.com. Okay, that is the link to our website, and it's got the links to everything else. Our shop. Okay, we got some awesome tees. We got the button. I do not have the button in arm's reach, so it is what it is. But part of our proceeds from every sale go to stop soldier suicides. So the mission is pretty big for us, and we're going to continue on with this mission and grow our community. Hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday. Catch you guys later. I'm out.
Thanks, guys.
Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Past is the past, so be forgiven. The past is the past, so be forgiven. The past is the past, so be forgiven. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. That's what we do in veteran trash talk. That's what we do in veteran trash talk. That's what we do in veteran trash talk. Bravely every morning.